Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Seriously, take a second and just think about the sheer volume of knowledge you possess right now. The daily hacks, the little workarounds, those hard-earned professional insights you've picked up over the years. Well, today, we're going to dive into a massive paradigm shift in how all that online expertise is actually valued. We're unpacking a really fascinating text titled The Architecture of Your Expertise, and we'll break down the precise mechanics of what's being called the next creator economy. Let's get right into it.
So think about every single time you've posted a detailed tutorial or shared a highly specific pro tip you learned on the job, or maybe just taken the time to answer a really complex question on a forum. You have been giving away your hard-earned expertise for years. And the truth is, you probably didn't do it on purpose to enrich some multi-billion-dollar tech company, right? You just did it to help someone out. But structurally, there's a fundamental imbalance in what happens to the underlying value of that knowledge the exact second you hit send.
Okay, let's dive into this changing dynamic because it's pretty wild. Under the old model, you do all the heavy lifting. You share the insight, and the platform just keeps the long-term value. And what do you get in return? Visibility. Maybe a few likes, some shares, or a momentary algorithmic boost if you're lucky. You are essentially subsidizing the platform's value for free. But there's a new framework proposed by a system called Kojada that completely flips this dynamic on its head. In this new model, you own your experience. The focus shifts entirely away from mere visibility, moving straight to actual ownership and, more importantly, long-term profit.
Which brings us to part one, a new ownership premise.
So, Katadata's core premise is radically simple. Your experience should be yours to own and profit from. Instead of operating on this outdated model where creators just forfeit their knowledge to the digital ether for free, which honestly is kind of absurd when you stop and think about it, this new architecture is built entirely on retention. It's like digital real estate. You generate the knowledge, you retain the ownership rights to that specific knowledge, and you are the one positioned to benefit from it whenever it's accessed.
Let's look at part two to ground this, the nurse example. Imagine a nurse who's developed a highly specialized, totally unique technique to calm an anxious patient right before surgery. They record a quick 30-second voice note sharing that exact method. Once uploaded, the system structures that raw human experience into verifiable data. Later on, an AI system, maybe it's a medical training bot or a caregiving app, accesses and uses that specific insight to train its models. Because the system tracks the usage, the nurse automatically earns money. And this brilliantly illustrates how deeply specialized, everyday knowledge can seamlessly transform into a monetizable, verifiable asset.
Moving on to part three, tracking and infrastructure. Now, you might be wondering if this is just pie in the sky. But this isn't just a theoretical white paper or some distant sci-fi concept. Kojada is already running a multi-chain infrastructure that houses millions of validated data points. Literally millions. The sheer scale of that active participation proves that the architecture required to track these micro-contributions of expertise is already live, functioning, and actively logging real-world knowledge right now. So what does a multi-chain infrastructure actually mean for you as a contributor? Let's de-jargonize that for a second. It basically provides two massive benefits: total transparency and automatic routing. First, you can actually track exactly when your specific piece of knowledge gets used by the system. Second, you literally watch the payments flow back to you. The loop between your uploaded expertise and your compensation is totally unbroken and entirely verifiable. It's surprisingly satisfying to watch your own brainpower literally pay off.
And that brings us to our final section, part four, the next creator economy.
So the crucial point is that the era of endlessly chasing streams, hunting for brand sponsorships, and subsidizing tech giants with your hard work, well, it's fundamentally changing. We are moving away from that exhausting old way. In the next creator economy, the entire model pivots to data dividends. You contribute your unique knowledge, and you own actual fractions of that verifiable data. The usage is tracked automatically by the underlying infrastructure, and the payments route directly back to you. It is an absolute game changer, really, a complete reimagining of the internet's value exchange. Which leaves us with one incredibly important question. Is your knowledge working for you? Right now, you hold years of unique experiences, professional insights, and specialized skills right there in your head. It's time to ask yourself if you're still just giving it all away for visibility, or if it's finally time to start owning it.
Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this sparks some deep curiosity about the true, verifiable value of your own expertise.